Moving swiftly on to the Arkle and Marine Nationale, who dirtied his bib at the Dublin Racing Festival, is 5-2 favourite. Elete Thoms is 9-2. Founder 55-1. Gaelic Warrior 6-1. Facile Vega 7-1. 8-1 Hunter's Yarn. 10-1 Calixios and JPR1, and 14-1 Bar. Jonny Dineen, I'm going to come to you here first, and then we're going to go to Robbie Power, because I know me and you don't agree on that much. We kind of clash on a lot of things, hence you're hugely successful and I'm not. In the Pocket is a horse we both fancy for this race. Do you really hope he shows up here? He had a setback earlier on in the season. We'll chat to Robbie in a minute. He was ruled out for a large portion of the season. He's back in training now. Has to be supplemented for this race, but it could happen. Are you hoping it does happen?
Yeah, look, he's going to have it a bad prep, though. You'd have to say that coming here, a maiden one run back in November, it's certainly not ideal anyway. And I'd say you'd struggle to find a horse that won the Arkle off that kind of a prep. I know Chief won the Arkle 1 year off the back of one run, but it was a winning run at the same time, and it was within couple of weeks of the race and that. So look, it isn't an ideal prep. Whether he's a very good horse, he is, but he's still up against it. Even if he does run it, I would have thought. No, I'm hoping he runs to have a few bob on him, and he's not going to win at home. But if he does turn up, he only has a chance, I think, anyway. To be honest, I do think it's a wide open race at the same time. So I wouldn't fall down if he won around that. But I would only say he has a chance. That's all.
And if he doesn't run, what would you like to have a few quid on it?
I think it's a wide open race, to be honest. I don't really fancy Marine Nationale. I think he runs with his head out to the side. He runs like he has a physical issue. I would be thinking he's some sort of a breeding issue or something like that, because he definitely didn't give his running the last day. And he's by his sire, French Navy, who's not the most prolific of sires. I would be slightly against Marine Nationale. I don't really fancy Founder 50. I don't think he'll win this race. Elete Thoms is a good, solid horse, but you'd say that he's vulnerable in any kind of a race. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if an English horse shaped well here. JPR1, I think he has a bit of a chance. I do think it's a wide open race, and that's why if In the Pocket did actually turn up here, he might have a chance, all right. But under normal circumstances, you'd find it hard to see a horse winning with that prep. But I do think it's wide open. But I would be against Marine Nationale, and definitely found a 50 anyway for starters, and I'd be giving JPR1 and possibly In the Pocket a chance.
Okay, so JPR1 is currently 10-1 with Boyle Sports. Robbie Power, Henry has Calixios in here at 10-1, who bounced back to form at Naas last time and could have In the Pocket. Is there any latest news on In the Pocket? How is he shaping at home?
Yeah, no, he's in good form. He's cantering away. He's doing plenty. I agree with what Jonny says. A horse have to have one run in the beginner's chase and finish in second to go and win an Arkle. It'll be a massive ask. It'll be up to JP and Frank and Henry as to whether they supplement him or not. So I don't know whether that's going to happen or not. But I think Calixios is an each-way chance. I think it's a wide open Arkle. I don't fancy Marine Nationale. I don't think he's a chaser. I don't think he can be a better chaser than he was a hurdler. His beginner's chase he won was a very ordinary race, and I don't think he ran much worse in the Grade 1 the last day when he
really?
I honestly don't think the beginner's chase he won was an egg and spoon race. The horse that he finished second to him got beaten in the beginner's chase after that as well. So I don't think he ran a whole lot below par when he ran his from his beginner's chase run to his Grade 1 form. I think he's a better hurdler and he will never be a chaser. He hasn't the physical size and scope to jump fences, so I don't fancy him at all. And it's wide open. I think horses, as Jonny says, JPR1 has an each-way chance in the race. Actually, Gavin's horse, My Mate Mozzie, has an each-way chance in the race. He'll be ridden to run well, and that's the kind of horse you're looking for. They're going to go quick in the Arkle, and I think My Mate Mozzie and Calixios are each-way chances.
The Ballyburn conundrum to you, Gavin Cromwell. Obviously, you've got My Mate Mozzie in here at 16-1. I think at the moment in the Grand Annual, 24 hours later, you're 6-1 favourite. Are you any closer to deciding where My Mate Mozzie might show up?
Well, I suppose we'll wait till the weights come out. I know I did get an English mark for him, but he ran since that, so I think that's open to change.
Our headline tipster in the Racing Post is Tom Siegel, price-wise, that you will know him. He is convinced this horse has a massive chance in this race, My Mate Mozzie, and he thinks you will be absolutely barking mad to run him in the Grand Annual because he thinks he could win the Arkle.
Yeah, you can certainly see the angle for it. Marine Nationale, it's going to be very hard for him to bounce back after the run the last day. He can pick holes in the form of the first 5 or 6 in the betting. So, listen, we'll wait and see. But I certainly not ruling it out.
How is he?
He's very good, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a real consistent, solid performer, isn't he?
Yeah, he runs well fresh as well. So, listen, we haven't run him since Christmas to keep him fresh for this, and yeah, he's in good nick.
If he does run in this, who do you think your biggest danger is?
I'd say Elete Toms or Found a 50 maybe.
Okay, that is Elete Toms, currently 9-2, and Found a 50 is 5-1. But keep an eye on my mate Mozzie. 16-1 for the Arkle. He could show up here, or he could run in the Grand Annual. Tony Keenan. The panel are very down on Marine National. This time last year, we were talking about him as a potential Supreme Novice Hurdle winner. He went and won that race. He beat Facile Vega. He only has one blip. They're very unforgiving, this lot.
You would be, I suppose. He was odds on last day. He was odds on for the Arkle before the last day. I think the stable form was probably a bit of an issue as well. Barry Connell was winning 1 of the 3 races for every runner he had last season. I think he's 1 of the 12 this year. Just a little bit of a negative, I'd say, just the way the horses are going generally. I'd say he is having his worst season as a trainer, strike rate wise. And as Jonny said, the head carriage wouldn't have looked great the last day. And he has that bit of a wonky head carriage in his bumper days as well, but just when it starts to go a little bit sideways, this close to the big target, you would be concerned.
You don't fancy him?
I don't know.
What do you fancy?
I wouldn't fancy anything wild strongly, but if it turned up soft, and I'd fancy Facile Vega. I think he doesn't seem to operate really that well around Leopardstown on kind of nicest ground, but when he's turned up to Cheltenham, he's won and run a screamer. And I just think a horse of that overall ability, if it did come up soft, would have a chance. I'm not sure he's running.
Well, we'll soon find out.
And if he weren't to run, I'd give a chance to the stablemate Blood Destiny. I know he was disappointing the last day, but you see, he destroyed Heartwood in Naas under that horse's ideal conditions, and Heartwood was race fit. I was really impressed with his jumping. I just wasn't sure he got home there the last day in Punchestown, and he's kind of biggest kind of price there. Was he 12 or 14-1? So I thought you're backing the best trainer with Facile Vega, who's looked the top class horse, and Blood Destiny horse. There's a bit of potential. I still think the Irish are going to be a cut above. Like some of these English horses weren't even running in Grade 1 novice hurdle last year, and the ones that were 100-1. So they do have a big gap to bridge. You think one of the Irish is going to put it together. I just think Elete Thomas has run twice at Cheltenham. He just never got into a rhythm either day. Looks really well suited to Leopardstown. He's a bit buzzy. Maybe he doesn't just take the preliminary. So I think Facile Vega, if we're slow, and Blood Destiny if he pitches up too, maybe.
Okay, so 7-1 and 14-1 poke for Tony Keenan, Facile Vega and Blood Destiny. David Kinsey, I have so many questions. I don't even know where to start. Let's start with the enigma himself, Gaelic Warrior. Have you any idea what's going on with him? What happened the last day, where he might show up?
I don't know how he's going to run. The last day I'd say they just went too quick and he made a mistake, and I'd say it emptied him a little bit, and Paul, I'd say, and the horse kind of gave up. Paul, the other horse took him on and went on, and I'd say Paul was just easy enough on him. I'd love to run him here. I think he'd probably win if he ran here.
So do I. Yeah. That's how much ability I think he has. But
yeah, but it hasn't been discussed yet where he's going to go. But I would run him here. Like, obviously the race was blown open after Dublin with Marine National blown out. I thought he looked poor in the ring that day, Marine National, before the race. And I think if he got back to somewhere near his best, I think he'd beat all of these looking at him again. And he's running last year's Supreme. I think you'd have to be worried. Like, he never ran again after the Supreme last year. Went and had a wind up in the summer. You know, there has to be doubts. I thought he was very good in his beginner. I thought he jumped great. I thought he jumped well enough in Leopardstown, maybe a little bit high for 2 mile novices, but he was beat early. I thought he was beat before the second last. Him back to his best, I think he'd take all the beating. Outside of that, I think it's wide open. Quilixius was the horse I was giving a good chance to each way. I thought he put up a fair performance in Naas, and ex-previous festival winner. I thought he'd be one. Elete Toms, I think, would have to fall into his lap to try and win it. Has his chance, whatever. Facile Vega, again, I don't know if he's going to run or not. He's in the other race. It looks like the 2 Grade 1 races he's running at Christmas and the last day, there were 2 hack canters. I'd say he wants a real fast 2 miles, and you'll see him better, or maybe he'll step up to 2.5. Blood Destiny, I'd say, might not run, Tony. He could go to Navan next Sunday and on to Fairhouse then for the Powerball Cup. If he's not declared in Navan, there's a good chance he will pitch up. So you'll know more next weekend. Outside of that, it's wide open. You know, Marine National looked poor the last day. Back to his best, he'd be the one to beat. If Gaelic Warrior runs in the rest, I think he'd take all the beating.
And is Gaelic Warrior okay at home and stuff since?
Oh, he's fine. Yeah, he's grand. Okay. Yeah, he'll work in the morning. He'll be grand. But it's the race I'd run him in anyway, I think.
Okay, there you go. That is the inside info on the Clysutton camp in the Arkle. As we know, it's a wide open race. That's the 210 on Tuesday.